So now I've opened up S-Line here, and we can see this is a multi-span beam. Now we can load up various examples that come loaded with the software. We can see that there's 8 total examples here that we could work with if we want to just get a better understanding for how this works. They're based on different codes, so maybe you'll find some work better for you based on whichever code you're working with, or perhaps maybe just certain design situations or beam configurations might be more of interest. In this example here, we're looking at number 7 according to ACI design code. We can see that we have 3 interior bays and 2 cantilevers on the sides. You can see all the dimensions listed. And we have fixed base columns both above and below our beams at the interior supports. And we can look into setting up this model a little bit more for ourselves now. So we could use the input bar here and set up some of these parameters. We can go with the general information first. And we can see some information that might be useful to help us set up this model. So the building code that we're using, we can choose from a number of different building codes if we wanted to. And you can see that a lot of the windows within S-Line are laid out in a tabular format. And we can adjust these if we want to. We can change the bar types, the units, whatever seems relevant to us. Now I'm not going to change any of these defaults. I'm just going to click OK, return back. And now we're going to look at the actual member configuration itself. We're kind of working our way right on this input bar. And here you can see these are some of the physical dimensions of our bays. So here we have bay 1, bay 2, bay 3, bay 4, bay 5. And each one of these bays has a tab, and we can adjust the information within this bay independently of one another. So again, you can reference which bay is which by looking at the B1, B2, B3 within the interface. And you can see, okay, well, B1 is obviously on the left side. You can see that it's a T-beam. I can change that if I wanted to. I can see the bay length. This information can be adjusted if necessary. Now, the effective section properties that we're using are actually going to be used during a structural analysis that's performed within the software as well. So you can see for our T-beams, we can adjust the width of the beam, the depth of the beam, the slab width, the slab thickness. These different parameters can be adjusted. We can also define negative moment redistribution that can occur within our beam. And for more information on any of these topics, we can also click on that Help button, and we can see exactly what this particular dialog might be referring to if anything is unclear. So we can look at perhaps how we want to enter the moment redistribution, how S-Line handles that parameter. And again, these effective section properties have been entered as a default. You can always override them if they don't make sense to your particular application, but we're just sticking with the defaults in this situation. And again, if we wanted to enter a negative moment redistribution, in this case here on the right end of bay number 2, we can do that. So I just entered 10%, and now I have that on the right end of the beam. So moving along this list of tools here, we're going to look at the reinforcing styles. You can see here, this is kind of our template for the different styles that can be used for top bars, bottom bars, and some other different types of reinforcement as well. What sort of style we're going to be using in this situation. So we're starting with top bar style number 2. And we can see there's a number of different coefficients that specify the curtailment of this rebar and the area coefficients and whatnot. And you can see from this diagram what each represents. Now if we switch bar styles, we can get, again, a different diagram that displays the parameters relevant to this type of bar style. Now this again is just looking at top bars right now, but if we look at bottom bars, we can see that we also have a number of different bar styles available, and each one of these has different parameters associated with them. So once we enter the desired information, this top bars and bottom bar information will then go into our rebar definitions and help us reinforce our spans. And for the miscellaneous, you can see here this refers to clear cover, some of the stirrup parameters, and different distributions coefficients for our stirrups as well. Because we made some changes, S-Line is asking us if we want to apply this reinforcing style, and once we do that, we can actually see this rendered on our model. So we can see all the different top and bottom bars that we specified, as well as the stirrup spacing that S-Line has set up based on the parameters that we've entered. Now if I want to look at the section at any one point, I can drag that section cursor there and click on this View Section button. And I get a view here that shows me the reinforcement details at that location. where that section mark is. So again, that's that mark that I dragged across my screen. You can see the dimensions of this beam. In this case here, I'm about mid-span in the beam. So I only have bottom reinforcement, but if I go a little further to the right, I can see that the top reinforcement kicks in. And at certain points, these reinforcement parameters will change as we move along the beam. The same goes for the stirrups. So again, we're just looking at the stirrups within this area, and we can see that right now we have a number 4 bar at 11-inch spacing. If I wanted to adjust anything, just like as concrete, I can click and drag on any one of these dimensions, and I can change the section, and everything will be updated accordingly.